There we go. Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming to the 6 p.m. part of class tonight. So if you have your yoga mat out, if you would like to go ahead and grab a couple props for yourself, one of the things that you can grab is a nice big pillow. If you have your own yoga bolster, that is an extra plus. But just something, nice and cushiony, enough to fill in some open, empty spaces. You can go ahead and bring in a blanket for the same purpose. And one block is fine. Two if you got it, but one is just good enough. We go, there we go for the music. And my timer over here. Wonderful. So for today's class, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be going through a nice simple Yin sequence that is going to help restore a bit of our spine for the strengthening asanas that we did earlier this week, as well as this morning, if you took my class, doing a twisting sequence. And so really, these past couple weeks, what we've been focusing on in my classes is just opening up throughout the thoracic area more, whether it be the spine or the chest, and getting some more mobility with our shoulders as well with our spine. So today we're going to go ahead and dive a little deeper into that, nice and gentle. So you can go ahead and start by having either a bolster, which can be the pillow, or you can makeshift your own bolster by combining two blocks and a blanket. I usually just have it nice and long, and then have the blanket like this. So either way, pillow or your makeshift bolster, just go ahead and place it onto the left side of the mat to start. And you can go ahead and find yourself onto your spine here. As you go onto our spine, you can go ahead and just keep your feet onto the mat. And place your right hand on your stomach with your left hand right on top.
Yeah, I know exactly where the store is. You gotta.
And then you're gonna go ahead and let's focus on your breath here. So you take a deep inhale in through the nose.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And out through the mouth. So then as you are breathing here throughout the lower spine, as you take a deep inhale, allow yourself to breathe through your stomach, bringing your Buddha belly into your right palm. And then as you exhale, allowing your lower spine to meet its way into the mat, rooting itself to the ground. And so allow yourself, as you start grounding and finding your place here onto the mat, to breathe nice and gentle, full and rich. And just to remind yourself that with Yin Yoga, that this is a class for completely winding down, a class for restoring our body, that we don't need to rush with our breath or with our movement. And hopefully we are able to ground to the point where we don't have to rush with our minds. So with each exhale that we experience here, we experience a sense of melting or surrender onto our mat here today. More than welcome to set an intention for your practice. And then on the next breath, you can go ahead and start by very gently windshield wiping your hips side to side. Here we're just getting a little bit of movement into our hips because we will be needing them for our practice. And then you can go ahead in the next breath. Place your hands right by your hips, rotate your shoulders back underneath into its girdle. And you're going to bend through the knees. And then from here, you can just go ahead and rotate your ankles out. And making sure that whatever direction that you rotate your ankles, that you go the opposite way as well. And then from here on the next breath, we can bring your feet together and then point the toes up towards the ceiling or towards your face. And then inhale, rise, straighten your legs all the way up towards the ceiling. Finding yourselves in an inverted staff pose. And if you like for this to feel a little bit more grounding here, you can take a block or you could take a blanket and you can actually put it on top of your feet here, just so that our feet can have a sensation of being supported or having weight come down to help assist your hips to the ground. We're not going to stay here for too long. We're just going to stay here for 5 more breaths. And a little workout into the hamstrings. Just trying to send that alert, waking them up. How I know that we're going to need them for practice today. Maybe even lifting up the kneecaps, engaging the quads, and look at that. The hamstrings open up much more when we did that. Good. Inhale, you can bend the knees. If you have something placed on your feet, you can remove them. Then we're going to go ahead and re-straighten our legs to the sky. And we're going to bring our arms to the T, or cactus if you wish. As we bring it to the cactus, point your toes up towards the ceiling. And we're going to inhale and guide our feet all the way over towards the right side of the room. Having your left shoulder onto the ground, I gaze over the left shoulder. Good. So if you need to go ahead and adjust your legs here, go ahead and do so whatever feels good. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. So just allowing your shoulder to meet the mat. And if your shoulder doesn't meet the mat, you can either grab that bolster or that blanket, bring it over towards the right side, and you can place it underneath the right leg. Good. Ideas of the left shoulder will help us make sure that our shoulder is onto the ground. Because if our shoulder is lifted up, we can put unnecessary strain into the upper level and center level of the spine. It helps you feel more grounded. You can take your hand right near where your left hip is, and you can just kind of guide it a little bit more towards the right side, diagonally towards the right shoulder. And again, we're taking nice and slow, deep, gentle breaths. Good boy. ahead and take 3 more breaths here. And with the final breath, we're going to replace our arms onto the ground, either to a cactus or T. Engage the core, and then inhale, straighten the legs up towards the ceiling, just for a couple breaths. If you have any props onto the left side, you can move it at this time to the right. And as we inhale, we can guide both the legs over towards the left side of the room. And if you need to prop up, you can place any of the props underneath your left legs. I say want you to knock over your stuff as you're traveling your leg over to the left side. And then from here, we can take your eye gaze over your right shoulder, making sure that our shoulder is pinned. And you can even see too, as we go through our exhalations, maybe you can bring your legs a little bit closer towards the left shoulder. Maybe feeling your right shoulder ground more after each exhalation. And again, you can maybe place the left hand onto the right hip to feel more sense of grounding, maybe assisting your hips to stack up on top of each other. You go ahead and take your final 3 breaths here. And then with the final breath, gauge the core. Inhale, bring both legs up towards the ceiling. Good. And then exhale, bend the knees. Go ahead and wrap your arms around. Very gently start to rock side to side. As you start to rock side to side, you can place your hands onto your knees and kind of create some circles here. And then go the opposite direction. And so wherever your bolster is, you can go ahead and make sure that it is onto the left side of the mat. Okay. So as the bolster is onto the left side, you can go ahead and hug the right knee in and inhale, rise the left leg all the way up towards the ceiling, keeping it nice and flexed. And as we exhale, we're going to very gently guide that leg to the mat, bringing the right arm to the T. We're going to go ahead and stack the hips, and this time we're going to get into a little deeper twist here, guiding the right leg onto the bolster. And you're more than welcome to stay here with your shoulder rooted to the ground, getting more into the hip, into the spine. And if you would like to get even deeper here, you can bend through the left leg, a little cattail style here. And you can go ahead and grab onto the left foot, eye gaze over the left shoulder. Or grab onto the left foot, eye gaze over the right shoulder here. And if you wanted some support for your neck, you can grab a blanket and have it folded very thinly, not so much that it's cranking your head up, but enough to fill in the empty space from your neck and maybe give your had a very minimal cushion here. I would grab mine, but it looks like somebody's using it right now. And just know that as we go through these asanas that you are more than welcome to move in or out of any formation that you would like. So maybe if this cactus isn't serving you, you don't have to hold on to your foot. You're more than welcome to keep the foot bent without grabbing it if you want, or you can restrain it out, whatever feels the best for you. Deep inhalations into the nose, out through the nose. Allow that belly and chest to be full of air. As we exhale, exhaling the same speed. Go ahead and take your final 3 breaths here. And from here, very slowly, if you are grabbing onto your leg, we straighten your leg. And very gently rotate back onto your spine here, keeping the knee bent. Let's go ahead and take the left arm to the T and just very slowly, right hand onto the right knee, just circulating the knee around, either pointing the toe out or flexing it towards the ceiling. Now the next breath, keeping the knee bent, we can inhale, open up the right knee to the right side of the room, and you can keep it hovering here. Or if you wanted to, you can take your bolster and take it to the right side. And as you open up that right knee, you can have it opening up and resting on this bolster here. We're not going to stay here for too long. Probably going to stay here for 5 more breaths.
So I should spend some time.
So on the final breath, we can take a deep inhale in through the nose, out through the mouth. Very gently bring that knee back up. Good. And then bringing the left knee to follow. You can go ahead and rotate the knees. You can either have them going at the same pace, rotate through the hips, or if you like, you can kind of swing your knees out here, getting some more mobility into the hips. Toes pointed. And so we could keep the bolster onto the right side here. And if it's not, go ahead and place it. And we're gonna go ahead and hug the left knee in here. And we're gonna inhale, rise, right leg, pointed up towards the ceiling. We're gonna exhale, slowly bring that right leg all the way to the mat. Okay. Finding a single rotation into the left hip here, just for a couple breaths, and making sure that you are reversing from the rotation. And then after a couple reverses, you can then go ahead, take the right hand to the left knee, either cactus arm or T, and inhale, guide the right leg all the way over to the bolster while keeping your left shoulder onto the mat. You can either keep your leg here onto the pillow with the right leg straight, or if you wanted to, you could go ahead and bend the right leg and grab onto the right foot with your left hand. Good. Nice. Having both shoulders rooted to the mat. Hands over the left shoulder. And you can go ahead and stay here. Slowly bringing in your breaths. You go ahead and start to take your final 3 breaths here. With the final breath, deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. If you're holding on to your right leg, you can go ahead and re-straighten the leg. And bring your right arm either to cactus or T. And then inhale, guide that left leg back to the center. Keeping the knee back, go ahead and find, again, your own little movements here into the right leg, or excuse me, the left. And you can reverse the rotation. And as we are finished finding this movement into the hip, you can take that bolster, bring it back over to the left side, and you can guide that left knee open, Captain Morgan style here, onto that bolster. We're not going to stay here for too terribly long. From here, you can go ahead, final 5 breaths. And with the final breath, keep inhaling through the nose, out the mouth. Very slowly guide that leg back to the center. Right knee to follow bench. Just a couple more little swings here. Good. And then you can go ahead and crisscross your legs. And you can grab onto your feet and do 5 rocks. Up and down from your spine. Give it a nice massage here. And then once you reach your 5th, you can hop all the way up, whoop, onto your hands and knees. Go. So as you go ahead onto your hands and knees here, make it a nice wide tabletop, nothing too shallow. Shoulders right above the wrist. Just doing a couple of cat-cows to give our spine a little bit more movement here. So rotate the shoulders back. Inhale, rise up with your chest, your tailbone into your cow. And we're going to take an additional breath here. And then as we exhale, we're going to round through the shoulders. You bring your chin to chest. And inhale back into your cow. Additional breath. And then exhale, round through the shoulders, chin to chest. Good. Now let's go ahead and open up the spine just a little bit more. Let's go ahead and curl through the toes. Let's up the tailbone nice and high. Bend through the knees. Bring the tailbone towards the ceiling here. Good. As you go ahead and straighten your legs into your full down dog. Give it a nice pedal on each side. Nice. Couple more breaths. Tailbone up towards the sky, following the lower spine. And then we're going to go ahead. Inhale, rise, right leg, three-legged dog. We're going to bend the knee. Open up the hip crease, 5 breaths. After the 5 breaths, square through the hips. Then we're going to inhale, bring the right foot in between the palms. Then as we bring the right foot in between the palms, let's go ahead and walk it out towards the right side. Good. So coming into that lizard formation here. You go ahead and drop the left knee, top of left foot. So if you would like a blanket for additional padding underneath the knee, you can go ahead and do so here. Now let's guide that right knee towards the right corner of the mat. And then just very gently come onto the outer edge of the right foot here. Eye gazes forward. And from here, you can either keep your arms up or even come all the way down to your forearms. And you can stay here for a couple breaths as we open on up. Or if you'd like, you can take that right hand, guide it towards the right knee, and then twist your body over towards the right knee. And then if opening up is too much for you, you can bring your forearms onto the mat or keep the arms straight. Stay here for 5 more breaths. Final breath, inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. Yeah, very slowly guide that right leg back to the center. Straighten out through the right leg, coming into some half splits variation here. Good, so you can have the toes either pointed up towards the ceiling or towards the front of the room here. And bring in that right hip crease back. And you're more than welcome to grab the blocks onto the outer edges of the legs if you needed that additional support here. Breath. And let's go ahead, bend that right leg. Guide the right foot again back over towards the right side. Right hand to the inside. And let's go ahead and open up the hip once more. And then walk the hands over towards the left corner of the mat. You can either keep your arms straight. You can bring your arms, your forearms all the way to the ground here as well. Even put your forearms on blocks if that's comfortable for you. We won't stay here for too terribly long. Five more breaths. Final breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Very slowly straighten out through the arms, very straighten out through the right leg. Walk the right leg back to the center here. Take your eye gaze forward. Go ahead, curl through the toes. Inhale, come into pyramid pose. Straightening out through the front leg, bringing the hips back here. And you can bring your hands onto the shins to find a straighter spine here. We're going to go ahead, take the hands to the mat. I'm going to take the right leg back up towards the ceiling here, three-legged dog. And then lower the right leg, pedal out the legs. Go to the right leg, inhale, rise left leg, three-legged dog. Go ahead, bend the knee and open up the hip crease, 5 breaths. After the 5 breaths, square through the hips, and then send that right leg all the way forward, bringing the left leg to the side. And you can go ahead from here, or drop the right knee onto the ground. And then if you like for this time, as you bring the left leg to the side, open up the left knee here. On the outer edge of the left foot, you can start by coming into a lizard pose with your forearms off the ground or arms straightened. Come into it for a few breaths. And then once you feel comfortable after a few breaths, then go ahead and take the left hand onto the left leg, and your eye gaze over the left shoulder here. Take your 5 final breaths. The final breath, inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. Very gently re-straighten through the arms. Go ahead and sneak that left leg back to the center. Grab blocks if you need to, but we're going to go ahead, come into some half splits with our legs here. Toes either pointed forward or towards your face. And the next breath, you can go ahead, rebend through the left leg and guide it back towards the left side of the mat. Open up the knee. And this time we're going to walk our forearms over towards the right corner of the mat. I'm not going to stay here for too long, so count to 10 breaths.